to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. TGIF. Actually, this is the only day of the week you're really allowed to say that. Thank God it's Friday. FYI, everybody, do have a pretty important meeting I have to have with accountants. Make sure taxes are paid and filed on time and all that at 11 a.m. You see, it's 9 a.m. here on the West Coast. So gonna have to be chop on the free video. Gotta have this basically done by the bottom half of the hour here, and then we'll head on over and chit chat a little bit in the after party. And special treat today being Friday, we have Murat, our level 2 course instructor, on the call. And sectorology, I think that's what he's calling his approach to the market, and also too, he's a really big fan of the relative rotation guide, which is a unique approach to the market. So very educational material for everybody today. If you have the chance, strongly suggest you come and check out what Murat's got to say in the after party here today. I've even asked Chris though to notify me when 45, or basically in about an hour and 40 minutes happens. If we're still going, I'll just leave you guys chit-chatting with Murat and answering questions and stuff. And I will slowly excuse myself. Also, too, very proud of Sjord making great strides trying to get the engine back online and operating correctly. But he did say that he has to go and basically reformat the whole database of data. You might actually find things like dashboards actually go blank as he completely wipes out the old data set and starts from scratch. So don't be shocked if you come on, and if anything, that's a good sign that he's making progress, and we should be able to get this breadth indicator back up and running and usable for you guys here shortly. So fingers crossed there. Also, too, Sjord's heading out to Dubai. I think there's a big crypto conference coming up here shortly. I think without question, Sjord is TRI's crypto expert as our chief technology officer. And of course, you can check Sjord's picks, what names he really likes in the space. And TRI has invested some fairly sizable amounts of money in a bunch of names that he's super excited about. And then also too, we are coming along and doing updates. Chris, did you do the little clip of the most recent summary of render? I think. Okay, so got to make sure that this gets filled out with all of the little video summaries, just so you know, if you're brand new to crypto, you're kind of like, why does he like this? If anything, I thought this was a great addition to the site, where we have sort of verbal explanations from Sjord, who's, like I said, an absolute genius in this space. He can actually explain this stuff in plain language. They always say that that's a good tell of somebody who really knows something, is if you can actually explain that to like a third grader, and they understand what you're saying. So if you are interested in good quality crypto fundamental analysis and also trading, you can see Sjord's already established risk-free trades. It's funny, we still have some Luna from the previous cycle. I mean, if they ever bring this thing back, great, wonderful. But nonetheless, we still have it on the books. And he is trying to build positions here in a lot of these names. And if anything, he said he's going to the Dubai conference, specifically looking for nuggets to invest in. And he's got a fairly sizable dry powder to work with. So don't be surprised if Sjord does find some names he's interested in, that you actually see some money to work in, like the 5-figure kind of neighborhood. It's enough to get serious about, in my opinion. Little old lady portfolio. We've been banging away on this thing. I haven't really done a heck of a lot of updating to this of late. Of course, I ran into a little bit of a snafu recently with clicked on a link in my email I shouldn't have, and some dickhead stole like 3 Gs from me. So I'm still smarting a bit from that. A little bit kind of gun shy about the ledger, but I suppose I'll try and get back working on it. I have been having fun flipping these Solana names recently, so this has been kind of a kind of fun side distraction. There's some great looking charts. I was barking to everybody about my RSI study and what happens when you see 2 Ws in a row on RSI. And sure enough, this thing had a big pop here. I've gotten a couple buys on. You can see where my shot order is. So just let it work. But if anything, higher and highs and higher lows defines a bull market. So rah, rah, bull. I will say though that crypto itself, we're awfully close to the end of this sort of big waiting period. What's gonna happen around the halvening event? And of course, now it turns out I'm basically the only person, it seems, in social media that still calls it halvening. Brian, I can't teach old docs new tricks. I always hated the term halving. But I don't care. Brian's a weirdo. So long and short of it here is actually, this is not the page I want to show you. I want to show you I still think, and bless Microsoft's heart, they came in and just basically rebooted my computer because they decided I needed an update and I didn't hit my save button on all these trading view charts. So I remember I had all pretty images and stuff all drawn up, and it's gone. I tell you, I'm liking the days when I used to get my price charts in the mail and I would write on my price chart exactly what I saw, and I knew that when I woke up the next morning, it wouldn't be hacked, it wouldn't be hard drive explodes, it wouldn't be Bill Gates decides to fuck you up the ass, so geez, I was super pissed off this morning. Ironically enough, though, I actually got off a really, really good trade. It was absolutely textbook short in crude here this morning. So you can tell in my voice, I got a little bit of a perk in my voice. Killing the market trading, but absolutely pissed off to no end to all these damn computer fuckheads. And of course, me swearing like a sailor is probably not going to help. But anyway, maybe Chris can delete that from the comments. But I have been commenting all along here that I do think that this price action is going to look a heck of a lot like 2015-16 cycle break. And how did that look? They had a big run up about a month ahead of the halvening event, then a pullback, and then basically through the halvening event, everything stops. And I got to say, I mean, history never sort of repeats. It often rhymes. But gee whiz, folks. I mean, that looks awfully similar. I mean, any way you shake it. I thought that was pretty damn good. The problem here, of course, is that this is a cautionary tale. So as a result, 0 views, 0 likes. Nobody talks to you about, oh, how awesome you are. But, actually, ironically enough, from a range trader's perspective, actually, we've been carving this market up. Remember, we sold up here, took profits here, stopped at scratch, and we just got on another sell signal. A beautiful market structure break, counter trend rally into mountain man levels, good old ICT setup. And lo and behold, look at this beautiful M that just fired here. And this is exactly what that 15-16 cycle looked like. Lots of bobbing and weaving. And I think we're sort of like right in this phase right now. So the counter trend rally back up against these highs. And here comes some failure. I would be very, very surprised, especially considering how close the halvening is now. I'd be very, very surprised if we really do much here. And then also too, from a technical perspective, like looking at things like the actual futures contracts, That's a pretty well-defined M, eh? And I mean, this is almost a repeat of what happened before. Adam, Eve. Well, here we go again. And this is great material you can all learn from. Adam, Eve. Absolutely beautiful. So it's just business as usual. Positions up $360 on these two futures contracts, the micros. This is a hell of a lot of risk, though, for like Joe Sixpack to consider. So I don't really think that these futures contracts are even designed for the public. They're designed for people with pretty deep pockets. So that's why I put on the cash market trade as well. This is on a tenth of a Bitcoin, which is about a $7,000 trade roughly, and risking $200 on this thing. It's probably a little bit more realistic for the public. But anyway, we'll see what happens. You can see where the take profit level is. That's just a simple 2-to-1 risk reward, which I think is just good best practices. And then, so on half of this position, out goes half of it at that price target. And then you've got a runner on, and you never know what the hell's going to happen with the runner. And, you know, I got to say, like I said, I had an absolutely beautiful trade in crude this morning. And, you know, my screenshot that I did up here is if I was ever going to teach a course on how to trade, this has got to be it. So where is it? Look at this trade. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. Here's a screenshot that I did. So we came into a 4-hour horizontal support and resistance level. Like every morning when I wake up, I go through my 4-hour charts and I just mark up, I can sell here. And actually, I was running out of horizontal support and resistance as we were pushing up here. It was the only level left, which was fascinating. So I had permission to hunt a short off of that break of that level there. So as this screenshot says, where did I have that? Is that over here? Nope, here. There it is. So 3 reasons for a trade. If I was ever going to teach a course, and take a screenshot of this. This is a free tutorial for you all. L Tangonator. What is the L Tangonator? Well, what the L Tangonator wants to see is a big move up, right? Obviously, that's a nice big fat move up. Actually, I think I wrote this up on the 5-minute chart. Yeah, there it is. And you want to see like a really, really big range. So top end of the range, you can't even see it with all of my writing. Bottom end of the range, 50% rule is where the L Tangonator takes profits. And I might even argue that I could come in on the buy side and I could buy Mr. ICT setup because we had a market structure. This thing was making lower highs and lower lows. And then we went out and busted that market structure level. So that means on a mountain man retrace of that range, I can actually justify buying there and risking against this double bottom. And of course, you know, I don't think Adam trades futures contracts, but hopefully all of you see this and go, wow, 78.6 off the original market structure bottom. That's one of those Sacramento slaps. Shark setup, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. All I care is that you just remember what the criteria of the setup is. But anyway, back to our awesome short trade, which is just, this was such a thing of beauty. So as we were coming into that 4-hour horizontal support and resistance level, so we have trade location, check, reason number 1. Then, and you can see I was messing around in the market. I actually fat fingered a trade. And because I fat fingered the trade, I just closed everything all out here. I was more than happy to start hunting this short, but because I fat fingered it, it adjusted all my trade levels. So I just covered everything and just said, okay, let's take a deep breath and let's start again. And this was beautiful because they ran it right into that 4-hour level. And look at all the divergences. I mean, this is an absolutely incredible tool on TradingView. If you can't find it, MAB divs written by an old TRI are just absolutely kick-ass script. So, I mean, I could pull up all the indicators, but then you can't see the price. So let's just throw this on here so you can see. Look at all these confirmed divergences. That's the definition of indicator confirmation, if there ever was one. And then to add insult to injury, well, no, that's not the right term. To the cherry, the icing on the cake. Have I ever talked to you guys about empires? And the interesting thing is empire patterns are incredibly difficult for the public to trade. It's next to impossible to get the public to go, oh yeah, that's a short there and I have to risk against that high. They just almost never want to do it. So yeah, trade location you had indicator confirmation, and then you had this beautiful empire came in. So you can see I hit the market for a couple contracts there. And then as I showed you on the Bitcoin chart, always a good idea, best practices, take partial profits 2 to 1. So then that way, basically, if I had to take the loss, I would lose this amount of money. And oh, Jesus, we're already set. Oh, I got about 10 minutes to go here. So I took profits at 87.08. Interesting. That's slightly different than what I was seeing earlier. Not quite sure what I was thinking there. But this was an important technical level off of lower time frames. We were coming into support. And then, actually, it's interesting that I did take profits there. I'm not quite sure what the logic there is. 2 to 1 on this bad boy should have been down in this area off of this empire. I think I was trading a smaller pattern here off of that. Interesting. Oh, yeah. What was it? Let's zoom in here and let's see. Anyway, there was the trade setup. So took this double top breakdown off of that was that move up top. And you can see that this was sloppier than slop here, but just absolutely beautiful failure here. Took profits at 2 to 1. And actually when we started to get down into Foggenbaums, I was given permission to move my stop to scratch. Always a good idea. You don't want to let a winning trade turn into a losing trade. And now actually, because we've broken market structure, you can see, I mean, this thing just absolutely puked out here. So on this risk here, I took one off at 87.08, which was 2 to 1 of the risk that I was taking, and then let the runner go. And I just let the runner go. Once this is traded to, then I move my stop to scratch. And you can see I even gave myself permission to move my stop to scratch. And I just let it run to the 50% level. And we just doink right into that 50% level, right through the euro close. So they like literally were running the Europeans out on the day lows. And I got my fill on the runner at just a huge win here today. It was an absolute beautiful trade. And really, I might even argue the only reason why I'm a little skeptical about this, I'm not quite sure why I had my stop at that level there, because that's not that 5-minute 2 to 1. Maybe I did something wrong when I just drew this up on the charts. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We can talk about it later. And geez, what an absolute thing of beauty here this morning. So everything that I'd like to try and teach you guys how to do here, wait for your trade level, make sure there's indicator confirmation, and then try and trade the price pattern. And as I said, this is a difficult trade for most new people to take, but that's what we call an empire. 3-bar fractal. And whenever I see that at trade location, when I saw that and I saw the FU move against these highs, and then there was a huge amount of volume that came in, that was off of this lower time frame chart, big spike in volume. So a whole bunch of people that actually did take this trade, they all got stopped out. And as soon as I saw that, I started to get super excited to be hunting that short, and it worked out quite well. So anyway, nice day. And the problem here is that, this is all about the eclipse and what's going on with all that. Jesus, what a beautiful failure there, eh? I don't know whether I'm actually overly bearish though, because, they did technically make a higher high here. And if you think about like, where was the previous bullish structure, they'd actually on the 4-hour basis, they actually have to break these lows all the way down here to break this original W bottom. So as a result, because they've broken these highs and they've broken these highs, that's that ICT guy concept. I actually think I could justify thinking about coming in on the buy side of this, which is so funny. So what that means is there's the real-time chart. Yeah, there you go. There's 61.8. I could actually justify coming in on the buy side here. Go figure, eh? And just simply risking against these lows. So like I said, that's the original massive W bottom there. And there you go. Now, just understand that if you do decide to do one of these 61.8 fib retrace mountain man, ICT, whatever the hell you want to call it, you got to understand that you have to risk all the way against these lows. And actually, there was a trade in the ES this morning that's basically moving along that same path. And I think this one might actually get stopped out. So, just drawing it really simply for you. We had the, and actually, you know what, this, well, I guess it's not really the best example, but we had lower highs and lower lows. And I think you could make the argument, well, especially off of this high here, because the market did trade down through this low, it didn't really do it convincingly, but that is technically lower highs and lower lows. We actually had a most beautiful short setup window here on the NASDAQ yesterday. I don't know whether I can show you that. I'm probably running out of time here. Where is Mr. NASDAQ? Right here. Take a screenshot of this whenever, and I was barking about this in the lounge. Whenever I see this happen here, where you get this 1.618 trade level come in, I mean, this is almost a no-brainer. Absolutely beautiful level. So you can see I took a short shot here, but then I just ran out of time. There's 1 o'clock. So I had to cover the position. I had no choice but to get out here, basically at scratch. But look at what they did overnight. It was absolutely textbook short. And look at that. Oh my goodness. But the interesting thing about this is because this is a market structure break here, that means 61.8, we can actually come in on the buy side and look at what's happening right now. So this is Friday. This is options expiry. Ironically enough, today's actually a very light news day. And we didn't really have a hell of a lot of, like, oh my God, earth-shattering econs today. It's actually pretty light. Why did the market break overnight? China's a shit show and it will remain a shit show. I would strongly suggest all of you. I know Stewart is in love with things like Alibaba and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to invest in the company, great. But remember, nobody knows where the hell Jack Ma is. And this is actually very typical of China. I remember we were playing a Chinese stock about 10, 15 years ago. It was a beautiful options trade setup. And the CCP just came along and stole the company and stole all the assets and just told investors, go fuck yourself. Who cares? Winnie the Pooh doesn't care what you think. So, if you're going to invest in China, be damn careful. I would stay the hell away from it. But that's just Brian. Brian's an idiot. And of course, I dropped F-bombs there about Mr. Gates earlier and, all the. I'm a little disappointed in the way the oligarchs really screw over our society, considering I consistently, day in, day out, constantly come back to you, all of you. I am the demonstrator of best practices. At least I try to be. And I don't lie to you. We have no conflict of interest, whether you buy any of the stuff that we're buying. I buy the stuff that I buy because it's me. It's just what I like to do. I teach you guys the rules of investing. And I couldn't believe it. Yesterday, check out my Twitter feed. Somebody actually made direct reference to me in a social media. They didn't have to. He just goes, well, everything I do in the market is based off of this guy, Brian Beamish. And I was like, wow, now there's a comment. Son of a gun. So thank you very much. You know who you are. We don't need to name names. But if I can make a positive difference in your people's lives, in your world, that is why I'm here. And it tickled me pink to hear that yesterday. That was absolutely beautiful. It was a great gift that I heard that after I came back from my visit with Lily. So did a good thing for Lily, and the universe turned around and said, Brian, here's a little treat. Just testifying to the fact that, yes, you are not trying. You are making a positive difference in this world. So I was super pleased by that. But so please excuse my saltiness about and foul mouth, but I can't believe how evil this world is. The Muslims believe that this world is actually hell. We are in hell right now. and you have to earn your way out of it. And I got to tell you, as one human to the next, I think they're right. How else do you explain how well orange toupees do in this world? And now a guy like me banging away for 10 years, and you see what I was doing in the futures markets this morning. That was the whole reason why I built this place to start with. And there was only me and one other guy in the futures room, just chit chatting away and trading and stuff this morning. So I don't know what my purpose is here, but I sure hope I am making some sort of positive difference in your world. Anyway, finish off this free video. We're not really going to get much on the positive side. I didn't really actually think that these econs were like fall out of bed, it's the end of the world. But at the same time, too, we just went through that eclipse. I sure hope you all learned about that eclipse. And I asked my day trading buddy, Ed, Ed, what do you think? Do you have a newfound respect for eclipses in the market? And he's like, damn straight. So ironically enough, I mean, if this was before the eclipse and it was 77.9 and the market was looking for 79, well, we probably would have said, hey, that's a case for the Fed to lower rates. And so as a result, the stock market goes up. And call it the eclipse, call it whatever you want. I mean, interestingly enough, we want to watch these inflation expectations. And I think that's probably what's got everybody worried in the market, is that consumers are not really feeling that great. And they're now starting to expect higher inflation down the road. So once again, Jerry and all those idiots, central bankers, they've got this wrong again. And they did not get in front of the inflation curve. And who knows how bad it's going to get. I will say that we did know from day one of this year that it is an election year, and typical U.S. presidential election years, I mean, look up Larry Williams and stuff. We're not really supposed to be going booming higher here through election years. We should actually go sideways. So could we have a situation where, things like the stock market, we actually have to unwind a lot of this? I would actually call this irresponsible excess. If you look at this NASDAQ chart, and this probably isn't the best place to look at it. Maybe we look at, actually, what's the best place is the charts that I have over here. Look at this Dow. Excuse me, S&P 500. I mean, can you see how ridiculously overbought this market is, both on the dailies and the weeklies? Can you see the bearish divergence in both the dailies and the weeklies? Can you see the bears ramping up and the bulls, especially on the weeklies? Where the hell did the bulls go? They just disappeared. And then, we just, again, great testament to these eclipses. This was the eclipse of the fall, and oh boy, here's the eclipse of the spring. And this was exactly the quarter point. Mr. Gann said that this is the point that you want to sort of keep an eye on. Think of the world moving in quarters, kind of like a watch, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, midnight kind of thing. So my hunch is, into the next quarterly pivot, which basically be in June, right? What are we supposed to do in May? Sell in May and walk away. Could we see our next pivot come in through the middle of June? I don't see any reason why not. And look at this price chart. I mean, does anybody have any business getting bullish in the face of that? I don't think so. So, would it surprise us to see things like Bitcoin as a risk asset also have to take a bit of a pause here over the next month or two? And you know the answer to that. And I still, for whatever it's worth, I still think that we are basically replicating what we saw out of the 15-16 cycle. Now, the end result of that move was a huge dump about, I don't know, I mean, like historically, this was the halvening event, and this was the top of the market right over here. So you can see how we kind of, halvening event itself was actually a relatively quiet event in the market. And then, and this will be the tell, is following the halvening event, does price just stop? And if it does just stop, then my hunch is we have to clean up this. I mean, look at this price chart, folks. WD Gann's rolling over in his grave. 50% rules, this would be natural. This would be healthy. This would be normal. And unfortunately, when I say stuff like that, that ruins all the circle jerkers parties, and, talking reasonable best practices, let's not be too greedy, all that kind of stuff. So, if anything, this should be an interesting trade to see how this develops. It's back in the money. It was slightly out of the money when we strapped it on last night, but it's back in the money. We do have a new M top working. I still think on balance that we're stuck in a massive trading range. But what should happen is we should get off half of the position at 2-to-1 risk reward. And then we'll move stops to scratch and do the whole damn thing just like we did this. No difference. In fact, look at this. We can even draw, because this is a confirmed double top. We can even start drawing things like chaos theory levels. Oh, look at that. Is that not poetic justice? And on that note, folks, I'm going to end this free broadcast. We'll see everybody on Sunday. Come on over for the after party and hang out with Murat. Murat, you ready to do this thing? He's on the call here with us. Let's see if he's there. Is he there? Is he there?
I'm here and ready,
All
Brian.
right. Always a pleasure chatting with Murat. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't take no win nickels. Remember what your number one job as a trader is. And I hope you enjoyed the new fancy microphone. Look at this. It's got even an arm and a swivel and all that. So hell, I could even talk to you like this if I wanted to. But have yourselves a great day. We'll see everybody for broiler chickens on Sunday. And the only thing left for me to say to you good people is bye for now.